The Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper was on fire yesterday. Not only did she take down the Home Secretary Suella Braverman in brutal style, she also brought down a very annoyed Phleps and a backbencher who didn't like hearing the truth about her party. What I did like the most is finally someone addressed the fact that although the Conservatives have claimed they are putting 20,000 more police officers on the streets, all they're doing is trying to replace the ones they cut from the last Labour government. Anyway, here's Yvette Cooper doing what she does best.
Since 2010, arrests have halved, prosecutions almost halved, community penalties halved, crimes solved halved. The proportion of cases that collapse because victims are giving up and dropping out has trebled. They want us to welcome their efforts to increase police numbers. But who cut them in the first place? It was Tory MPs and Tory ministers who voted to cut 20,000 police officers from forces right across the country, from our neighbourhoods, from detective work, from response teams. And now they expect everyone to be grateful because they're trying to put some of them back. 20,000 experienced police officers gone. But look, it's good to see the Home Secretary here today because we don't see her that much. And if I'm honest, I don't really know what she does. Because the deluxe secretary has been put in charge of doing antisocial behaviour.
She doesn't know how.
The Prime Minister has taken charge on small boats. The Navy's been in charge of patrolling the Channel. Didn't work, did it? No. The deluxe secretary, in fact, that much vaunted policy that they announced a year ago has ended up with actually record high levels of dangerous boat crossings. The deluxe secretary is also deciding on the Prevent Review and running Homes for Ukraine, while the Education Secretary, the Work and Pension Secretary and the Treasury have taken over deciding legal migration policy and have cancelled the Home Secretary's plan to bring back the net migration target or cut student numbers. The Immigration Minister has taken over asylum accommodation because when the Home Secretary was in charge, she broke the law. The Security Minister has taken over security policy because she can't be trusted not to leak. She's not charging criminals because that has got worse. In fact, the number of prosecutions fell by 20% when the Home Secretary was the Attorney General. She's not sorting out the Windrush scandal because she's cancelled all of that. She's not doing work on police standards, tackling misogyny or racism or violence against women and girls because she thinks all of that is woke. All of that fuss about the sacking this week of the member for Stratford as the Tory party chair and minister without portfolio, the real minister without portfolio, is still in office. Though she doesn't get let out much, she doesn't even do TV or radio interviews. So I don't think we've heard her in the morning for months or on a Sunday for months, because she is the shadow of a Home Secretary. She is a shadow Home Secretary. So why doesn't she just get out of the way and let somebody else do the job?
So perhaps the Shadow Home Secretary can explain to the House why Labour voted against keeping rapists in prison for longer. You did.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party voted for minimum sentences for rape. We voted to increase sentencing for rape. But I would just say, actually, it doesn't matter what the sentencing powers are if nobody is being prosecuted and nobody is being sentenced in the first place. And the numbers of people who are being prosecuted and sentenced has plummeted. And they are thinking about bringing in more fixed penalty notices. Well, the Prime Minister certainly knows all about that one. The first ever Prime Minister to ratchet up not just one but two penalties for law breaking in the space of 12 months, surrounded round the Cabinet table by multiple rule breakers and other repeat offenders who chose to ignore warnings about rule breaking by a record 4 of his Cabinet ministers that he appointed, and who's chosen to appoint, as his Home Secretary and his Justice Secretary, the two jobs most responsible for establishing respect for the rules, enforcement of the law, two people who he was warned in the autumn were both under suspicion for breaking ministers' own rules. I give way to the honourable member. Mr Deputy Speaker.
Anna Firth.
Mr Deputy Speaker, would you ask the Shadow Home Secretary to explain what this has got to do, please, with the matter that we are debating this afternoon?
I have to say to the honourable member that if she doesn't see any connection between establishing respect in our communities, respect for the rule of law, respect for the rules, a sense of enforcement, and the behaviour of government ministers on the fixed penalty notices, the law-breaking by the Prime Minister himself, then what she's doing is reflecting that same problem of this culture across the Conservative Party that it is just one rule for them and another for everyone else.
And to see her brutal takedown of Suella Braverman at a previous time, click the video that's on screen now. Don't forget to hit that like button or the join button for membership. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.